Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from where you are watching from. My name is Comrade Daniel Mosa from Delta State, Nigeria. I am an advocate for environmental sustainability and education, and I am also the founder of Genesis of the Future, an initiative that supports education and sustainability. So, yesterday, being the 21st of October 2025, I was greatly honored to be invited as one of the speakers from Delta State. That is one of the panelists that will be joining the local conference of youth South South Region 2025. Will be joining online because it uh, it was an hybrid program. So I was greatly honored. I can say it was a truly inspiring experience. I would encourage that such meetings and or conferences be held periodically to educate our youths. You know, I'm talking about Nigerian youths here, especially youths from the Niger Delta region of Nigeria. So, but unfortunately, I couldn't speak, even though I took my time to, prepare a little document that I want to talk about. You know, we were given a topic to talk about, and for all the speakers, especially the hybrid speakers from the six states in the Niger Delta region, we had only about 30 minutes for the first interactive section. On the topic, that is the title, Co-creating Climate Justice, Youth Innovations, Challenges and Pathways for Collective Action. So I know the event has passed, but I will, I will want to talk about this from my own perspective, then put it out there on Facebook or any of my social media platforms, so that anybody who, people can see it, right? And probably some of the information I'll be dishing out might be useful to somebody. So please follow me as I run through this briefly. So, talking about the topic here, co-creating climate justice, youth innovations, challenges, and pathways for collective action. What is climate justice? What do you mean by climate justice? It is a principle that recognizes the unequal burdens of climate change, where communities or nations who suffers the most contributing the least to the problem. Yeah, what is climate change? Climate justice, rather, in a very simple term, means that it's a principle that recognizes that communities or nations that suffers more from climate change, from the impact of climate change, are the ones that contribute the least to climate change. Because we all know that human activities is the major cause of climate change today in the world, right? Now, there are in the entire world, about 7 continents of the world, there are people who contribute more to climate change, and there are people who contribute less. That is the global scale. Now, coming back home, there are there are communities who contribute more to climate change, and there are communities who contribute less to climate change, right? So, I just want to pick a few examples. For example, Africa as a continent contributes only 4% to the entire world's climate change. even though Africa holds about 17% of the entire world's population, right? Now, let's come back to local. Now, in our local neighborhood, in our states, let's just come down to the local, the local communities. When you go to very rural communities, let us take plastic pollution for example. When you go to very rural, very, very rural communities, riverine communities, you discover that urban cities or urban citizenship or urban citizens contribute more to plastic when it comes to plastic pollution as compared to those in the rural environment. What do I mean? For example, state capitals are cities, right? You can find clubs, you can find bars, big bars where people go to drink, you can find restaurants where people go to eat, right? Every day, the population of the people living in the city, majority of them they either go to clubs, go to, bars, and they will eat and drink and litter everywhere. That is why we have a lot of plastic bottles everywhere, right? But when you go to villages, it's only a few people that that purchase. So, like, it is once in a while you can before you can find 200 plastic bottles in the village. You must have found 2,000 in the cities. That is what I am saying, right? So when it comes to plastic pollution, the cities contribute. That is, the urban communities contribute more as compared to the rural communities. But when the water levels begin to rise, it is the rural communities that will suffer the impact of these actions more than more than the urban communities. You understand? The urban communities contribute more, but the rural communities will suffer for it more. For example, flooding, right? Flooding happens, affects the rural communities more than it affects the urban communities, because before the water level will rise and flow into the urban communities, it must have swept over the rural communities, and when these things happen, it will lead to migration. You understand? It will lead to forced migration, right? It will lead to lack of education, loss of properties. You understand? People will have to migrate, displacement. So these are some of the impacts, and it's going to affect the rural communities, because most of the rural communities are riverine communities, right? So it is a lot. So that is what climate justice is talking about. So it is this principle that recognizes that, look, the people that contribute, the communities that contribute less are suffering more from the impact of climate change. So it is injustice, right? So that is why we as youth, we have to join forces. We have to join ideas, strategies with public sectors, private sectors, the government, and we as individuals and youth. We have to come together, to implement strategies to see how we can, combat this problem, this climate change, right? This insustainability, right? We have to look for a way to, to mitigate the effect, and finally put it to a stop, right? So that is what this topic is talking about. This type is talking about co-creating. So we have to co-create. We have to join forces. We as youth have to be co-creators, right? Of policies, of strategies, ideas, innovations that can help mitigate the impact of climate change, right? That can reduce the level of which we are suffering climate change, especially the rural communities. Because we are talking about survival here. Climate change, mitigating the impact of climate change, promoting biodiversity, and stopping biodiversity loss, environmental sustainability, waste management. Yes, these things are very, very good that we are doing to save the planet, right? But it is not just about the planet. It is also about the people. So we are saving both the planet and the people, right? So we are talking about loss of lives here. We're talking about survival here. That is why it is very important. So that is what this topic is all about. So why climate justice matters? Because it is about fairness, equity, and survival. For example, floods, like I mentioned before, leads to displacement and migration. Drought and food insecurity. These are some of the impacts of climate change. Education is being put to a halt for kids. When there's floods or any of these natural disasters, children cannot go to school, which is a threat. Because when the kids are not educated, tomorrow they may become bandits and hoodlums. People that are supposed to be leaders of tomorrow, right? So that is why this topic is very, very important. So we as a people, co-creation means youth, communities, and decision makers working together to design climate solutions and creating climate justice, just like I mentioned. We are going to design climate solution and create climate justice, right? But we don't have to wait for the government to do it alone. We don't have to wait for the private sectors or the communities to fight this, to fight this fight alone. We have to join. We have to be co-creators, right? We cannot just be sitting down and looking because we are youths. Yes, we are just in time. This, we can do something about this, right? Especially if you are from the Niger Delta zone, you can do something about this. Trust me. So let us proceed to youth innovations. Youth innovations. Some people will be like, what can we do? We are young people. We are youths. We don't have the resource. What can you do? There are a lot that we can do. Number one, we can go into recycling startups. You can own a recycling hub. You don't necessarily have to have a recycling company. You can create a recycling hub. Where you gather materials, waste materials. Gather it to a quantity, sort them out. Do the brand auditing, and then take them to recycling companies. You can even make money doing that. So you are making money. You are saving the environment. You are saving lives. These are little things we can do. We can also go into renewable energy projects. Now, what are renewable energy projects? Look at the energy consumption. The energy demand is too high in our country. A lot of us have a lot of gadgets at home, air conditioning, a lot, water heaters, a lot of them, right? Then these things consume a lot of energy. So you are placing if you consume a certain kilowatts per day, I consume a certain kilowatts per day, and then when you join all this energy demand, right, it is going to be placing a high demand on companies, energy generation companies, right? So, and for them to generate that kind of energy, they are going to be expending some of the resources that are not renewable, right? And they will be contributing to climate change. So we have to cut down on our energy consumption by embracing renewable energy projects. For example, solar power. Solar power. We should embrace solar power. We should embrace wind turbine power. You should cut down on your energy. Instead of using washing machine, instead of using dryers to dry your clothes, you can put them on the sun outside. Technology has done us a lot of good, but it's also doing us a lot of harm. Expansion, industrialization has been doing us a lot of good, but it has also done some harm, but that we cannot see. We depend so much on these things. And these things are they consume a lot of energy. And by the time you trace it, you will find out that we are moving in a cycle. You demand for energy, they want to, the companies that are supplying the energy, they want to provide this energy for you. Then by the end of the day, we are all contributing to climate change, even without knowing it. Indirectly, we are contributing to what? To climate change. That is why we must embrace renewable and efficient energy. When you want to buy gadgets, please buy energy efficient gadgets. Yes, energy efficient gadgets. Gadgets that work with inverters, right? Buy them. Buy reusable instead of going for brand new. If you can get a reusable, material gadgets that is working and functional, go for it, bro. By doing this, you are saving the planet. Taking public transport more than driving, you are saving the planet. There's a lot of sustainable lifestyles that we can adopt to save the planet. Little efforts that we can do to save. So let us proceed to what youth can do, what innovations youth can engage in. Reforestation and green campaigns. Yes, reforestation, replanting of trees. Do you know that we need trees to survive? Trees give us oxygen that we breathe. They will take out the carbon dioxide from the environment, combine it with sunlight and chlorophyll and through the process of photosynthesis, and give us oxygen. But yet we kill trees, we cut them down. Massive deforestation. For what? For timber, expansion. We want to clear this forest. We want to turn it into a city. We should focus on what? Reforestation. Trees are very, very medicinal. They are very beneficial. They are shelters to a lot of microorganisms. They break the wind. And we have to respect the biodiversity. We have to respect the trees too, right? We cannot just keep cutting them down, and then a certain species over time will be lost. We cannot do that, right? So we can go into something like, we can go into green campaigns, promote greenery. When you build a house, plant trees around. You can even create a mini tourist attraction center that has green trees, greenery, right? So let's look at art, music, movies. Whatever you do, bring in sustainability. Whatever you do, use it to promote sustainability. Use it to promote climate justice. Whatever you do, in your write-up, in your poetry, use it to promote climate justice. In your posts, a lot of us are into social media business now. Use it to promote climate justice. Post about climate justice. Post about sustainability. Post about waste management. In your music, sing about it. In your arts, write about it. Draw. Whatever you do, just these are tech innovations, right? We can change the narrative instead of discussing about people on social media, people's relationship, things that have no concern, that are of no concern to you. You can use that time to post about sustainability, adaptation, climate change mitigation, right? So these are some of the things we can do. Yeah, solar microgrids, I think I've mentioned that. Recycling apps, we can create recycling apps, right? Climate smart agriculture, good. I think I've mentioned that. Educational outreach, just like I do. You can go into educational outreaches, support any of the SDGs, the 17. Go online, go and Go and look at all the SDGs, 17 of them. You can choose one to support. By doing so, you'll be mitigating the impact of climate change. You'll be reducing climate injustice and promoting climate justice. You'll be doing a lot without knowing it. Right? So you can do like me, promote educational outreaches. So now let us proceed to what do I do? People be like, okay, you mentioned the organization, Genesis of the Future. What do you do? We go to schools, especially primary schools in underserved communities. We give them learning materials, we give them books, biros, pencils, chalks, whatever you can think of, bags, shoes, learning materials. Why do we do this? We want to support education, we want to encourage the students in primary schools. Yes, because they are what? They are the grassroots. And we are focusing on underserved communities that has no government impact, no government presence, communities that there's no encouragement for education, communities that these indigenous laws are there where education is not promoted, not supported. These people are the leaders of tomorrow. These children have to be taught, they have to be encouraged. That is what we do. Again, we are also engaged in tree planting activities. In every school we go for educational outreach, we plant trees in these schools. Why are we doing this? We are preparing the students to become stewards of the environment. We are promoting biodiversity. We are promoting a cleaner and breathable learning and living environment. We are promoting green startups. We are promoting green economy. This is why we do what we do. So you can join us, you can partner with us, contact us. We are ready, open for partnerships and for collaborations and volunteerism. Right? So let's quickly look at some of the challenges that are facing the youths. What are the challenges that are facing many young innovators are burning out. No, many young innovators are burning out, not because they lack passion, but because the system doesn't yet trust them enough to lead. That's true. The government doesn't trust some of the youths enough to lead. They will look at us as maybe you are too small, you are too young to lead. They don't trust you enough. But then we are not going to wait for them to trust us. We must do what we must. We must make a change. What are some of the challenges that are facing the youths? If you are a government official, a private sector watching this video, please listen carefully. These are some of the challenges the youths are facing. And please, we have to address these challenges. We have to remove all the barriers that are standing between us and the government and the private sectors and the communities, because we have to co-create strategies and design solutions that can promote what? Climate justice. Number one of the challenges we face is limited funding and institutional support. Yes, there's no funding. Most of these innovations I just mentioned require money, funding. Personally, how do I get funds? My associates, personal resources, right? But we cannot continue. I cannot be doing it on my own. Other youth innovators that have passion for this work cannot do it on their own. We have personal resources because it's limited. We need funding from organizations. We need funding from private sectors, from captains from industries. We need funding from the government, from international organizations. Funding is one of the problems we are facing. Funding and lack of institutional support. Good. The second one is policy exclusion. The government, they are not doing their part. By now, sustainability is supposed to be in the curricula. The Ministry of Education, I don't know what they are doing in each state and in the federation. Climate change or environmental sustainability is supposed to be one of the key subjects from primary schools to the university. It's not in the curriculum. It's a challenge. Now, the third one we have here is limited mentorship. Yeah. Big men of big foundations, big NGOs, CEOs of companies, CEOs of industries, CEOs of banks, private sectors, people who have been doing this work, people who we call leaders today, there is almost zero mentorship. When you see an inspiring leader like us, it is almost impossible to reach out to these leaders, to these captains of industries, to these government officials for mentorship, for guidance. It is a big challenge. This barrier, wall of partition, whatever it is, between young innovators, young leaders, and captains of industries and private sectors, we have to look for a way to take it away, because it is affecting us as a people, as a nation, and as a community. The next challenge I have here is digital divide and lack of access to climate data and decision-making spaces. When you go online, what do you see? What is our influencers posting? Go to big influencers pages. What are they posting? Entertainment only. Nothing to support climate change. Nothing to support climate change mitigation. Nothing to support climate justice. Nothing to support environmental sustainability. Nothing to support waste management. So there's digital divide. So this is a big challenge. Then there's no access to climate data. When you go online, it is almost impossible to see climate data, especially from rural communities, right? And then decision-making spaces. When it comes to decision-making, the youths are not included. There's high exclusion of the youths when it comes to decision-making. In the presidential cabinet, how many youths are found there? How many, out of all the commissioners and ministers of ministries, both in the federal and the state level, how many youths can we find? How many passionate youths can we find? These are challenges that we are facing. No, now let's look at pathways for collective action. What are some of the things we can do to correct some of these challenges, right? Collaboration across sectors. The youths must collaborate with the government and the private sectors and communities. If you are a private sector watching the private sector leader watching this video, please look for a way to connect with us, the youths. If you are a government official watching this video, look for a way to connect with us, connect us to the government. There has to be more collaboration across sectors. Number 2, we have policy mentorship. Older leaders guiding youths into climate leadership roles. I think I've mentioned that before. One of the challenges is limited mentorship. There has to be more policy mentorship. The older leaders have to guide the youths into climate leadership roles. Number 3 I have here is integrate climate education into school curricula. I've mentioned that before. The government will integrate climate education into the the national education curricula from primary schools to universities. Number 4, build local climate networks that connect rural youth and urban innovators. There has to be a connection between our youth in the rural communities and those in the urban communities. For maximum impact, we have to be interacting. So there has to be a network for this. Number 5 is a community-based initiative, just like I do. Just like my initiative. The one I found, the one I created. Community-based, we must promote community-based initiatives. Number 6, digital advocacy. Our influencers should focus on advocating for environmental sustainability and climate justice, and not some of the things we see online. talking about people's marriages, talking about, when you go online, it's mostly noise, noise, and noise. You hardly find an influencer who is an advocate for climate justice. This is wrong. We must correct this. Then green jobs and entrepreneurship. Our governments and our youths, we must promote green jobs. We must look for green jobs. We must focus on green jobs and not white collar jobs anymore. Green jobs, such as solar jobs. Somebody can be importing solar power. People can be, wind turbine, renewable resources, renewable energy. We must promote these things. So no action is too small when rooted in justice. Anything you do to promote climate justice, nothing is too small. No action is too small in promoting what? Climate justice. So, to wrap it up, what I have here is a call to action and collaboration, the just transition. So what should we do? What is the call to action? Number one, as an individual that you are, advocate for training and reskilling of young people for green jobs. We should talk about it. We should advocate for the training and reskilling of young people for green jobs. Number two, demand fair funding mechanism that reaches the grassroots initiatives. When it comes to funding, it has to be fair. All the initiatives that promote funding should make sure that it reaches the initiatives that are community-based, grassroots initiatives. Funding should be able to reach these initiatives to carry out the work they are doing. Number three, plant a tree. You can grow a tree in your house. You can grow a tree in your compound. You can plant a tree. Save a life today. When you plant one tree, we are making progress, in terms of sustainability. Slow, but it's sure. Plant a tree today. Start a climate club. You can start a climate club. You can start a climate hub. You can, start a climate club. Then the next one we have here is educate one person. A lot of people don't have this knowledge, right? That is why I came online to talk about it. Educate one person today, and you'll be happy you did in the future. Number 6, the next one here is I don't know the number now. Join a community campaign. There are a lot of community campaigns. There are a lot of community services in your locality, in your community. Join 1, join 2, join 3. By doing so, you are supporting climate justice. Climate justice needs all of us, both the youths, the communities, the government, and the private sector. Join us, volunteer with us, and support climate justice. So tell me, what is one action you will take today? Considering all these things I just mentioned, tell me one action you will take today. Tell me. So, by way of ending this, the fight for climate justice is not a sprint, it's a relay. Each of us carry the baton of change, and our responsibility is to pass it on stronger than we received it. The time has come for youths. The time has come for youths not only to raise their voices, but to raise solutions, to innovate, to collaborate, and demand a just transition that benefits every community. Because the future we are fighting for is not tomorrow. It's being built right now by the choices we make and the courage we show today. Thank you. So this is a material I prepared to talk about during the local conference of youth for the South Region Conference 2025. You can connect with me on my LinkedIn profile or my Facebook by just searching me through Google or searching me on Facebook or LinkedIn. And follow me for more inspiring content. Follow me in this journey as we make a change today. Follow me as we promote climate justice. Follow me as we promote environmental sustainability. And follow me as we promote education from the grassroots. Thank you. I remain Comrade Daniel Mosa from Delta State. God bless you. Bye.